How's it going? This is Jay with Bike Skill Cancer, and this is my recovery week. And I mean, recovery weeks are all about beer and cookies, right? Maybe in moderation. And I will admit that when I was younger, I really thought of like recovery weeks as a cheat week. That was the time I was not riding as much, so I could drink more beer, eat more cookies. Believe it or not, with age comes wisdom, and I don't eat near as many cookies, nor do I drink near as much beer. My body just can't take it anymore. My recovery weeks, I try to keep them simple, and I focus on just a couple of things. Active recovery, so I'm not just sitting on the couch. Well, sometimes I sit on the couch if my body tells me to, but for the most part, I'm trying to stay active, some light cycling, yoga, stretching, maybe some core work. Sleep, I'm a big proponent of sleep. And also just continuing to eat healthy with the occasional cookie. Now, for the most part, I enjoy the rest week. It really is a time to just sort of recharge, recuperate, and get caught up with things around the house, caught up on some bike maintenance. But there is a part that I'm not super fond of, but it's necessary. Doesn't have to happen every training block after you finish 3 weeks. You don't have to do this, but I try to devote one day to doing some testing to gauge my fitness. I try to keep the testing consistent, do it in the basement. I don't have to worry about the wind, the weather, cold, too hot, too cold, whatever. And really a test can be anything. It can be your favorite hill climb, and you just go out and you hit that hill as hard as you can, and every 3-4 weeks you're checking for some improvement. We'll take a look at my testing protocol, and I'll share where I got it from and why I like it so much. So let's go on inside, see if there's any more cookies in there, and we'll take a look at some of the other things I do during rest time. What you just saw in that ugly little clip was me finishing up my max 1 minute power effort, which is one of 3 parts of the fitness test that they use over at Weight Endurance. And I'm not even going to try to explain all the nuances of this test and the spreadsheet that goes with it. What I want to just stress is how important testing is in terms of gauging your fitness throughout your training plan. And if you look at my first test back on February 3rd, there's 3 parts that make up the test. AET, so that's basically riding at about 80% of your max heart rate for 20 minutes. My average wattage for that was 216 watts. Then there's a recovery period. You do a max 4-minute test. That was 337 watts. And then a full on for a minute. That was 429. And then if we go back and check out today's, which is May 12th, so that's about 3 months, you'll see that I've had substantial gains in all 3 of those areas, 244, 360, 464. You plug in those 3 numbers as well as your max heart rate and your weight, and I've also lost a little bit of weight, which is nice. And the spreadsheet that they use over at Weight Endurance has a formulas that calculate all of your other training information. And if you're working with Weight Endurance, they use all this information to help create your training plan. And I will include a link to a podcast by those guys and gals over there that goes into a lot more detail in terms of the importance of these numbers and why they use this test. They're the professionals. They do a much better job than I could ever do of explaining all this. But I just really wanted to show to you the importance of testing in terms of gauging your fitness to know that you're on the right track. And it doesn't have to be something this elaborate. You could, as I said earlier, just have a favorite, climb that maybe takes you 20 minutes to do, maybe a long, straight, safe roadway section where you could go full out for 5 miles, 10 miles, and you can use that as a gauge for your overall fitness, just looking at time and average heart rate, average power that you're putting out if you're using a power meter. So the important thing is have that testing protocol in place and do it during your rest period. So like I said, I give myself the first part of the week to get fully recovered, try to do the test on a Thursday. That gives me Friday to recover as I start the weekend with putting in some a little bit longer, more miles at the end of the rest week. All right, so that's my testing protocol, and hopefully it helps you understand the importance of using a testing protocol. Let's take a look at a couple of those other things that I like to do during my rest week to keep it fun, as well as to make sure I'm getting the rest and the recovery I need, because you can put in all the efforts and all the time during your training blocks, but if you're not taking the time to let your body recover, it's not going to do you near as much good. That's right, I like to get my OM on during my recovery week. Actually, I like to stretch and move and work on core all the time, but I just a little bit more focused during those recovery weeks because it's not taxing on the body. And to be honest, I just finish a 20-30 minute session and I feel a lot better. It doesn't have to be fancy. There's a ton of YouTube videos out there teach you how to stretch and do yoga. Find what works for you and just make it part of your routine. And the last part of any good recovery week is slowing down and enjoying those little simple things in life and taking a little bit more time to just sit back and observe and be thankful for what you have. I know I am. Hey, a bit of a confession time here. I'm not doing a very good job this week of following my own advice because, well, my wife makes really good chocolate chip cookies and she made chocolate chip cookies during recovery week. So it's been hard to keep my hand out of the cookie jar, but you know what? Part of a good training plan and part of being a good athlete is being forgiving of yourself. So I forgive myself for eating this cookie. Thanks for watching.